Okay, hello and welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. I'm Scott and I'm joined by Rob. And today, well, you know what day today is. It is the day for Extreme Rules. Really excited. We're going to be running down the card. We're going to be talking about all the latest rumors, news, and speculation. And I'm sure you know exactly what we're referring to there. And yeah, it's going to be a fun night building up to Extreme Rules. So without further ado, let's start the show.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.
Okay, so like I said, it is time to talk Extreme Rules. Are you all right there?
Sorry, man. I was hydrating. I nearly headbutted the microphone as I come back. I was trying to be professional.
What a start! It's all right. These build-up shows are some of the most fun shows to be a part of, and it's for reasons like that, because it's live. Things can go wrong. Sometimes things go wrong outside of our show. For example, I think about the time when it was a storm at WrestleMania, and we were excited, thinking, "What is going on?" But that's why I like these build-up shows, because we get into breaking news. We go through all the buzz that's going around social media and stuff like that. But of course, talk about what's happened since our prediction show that we did a little while ago. Well, last week now. The things that have happened since then, of course, on the go-home shows of both Raw and SmackDown. Right. Rob, how are you feeling about this event?
Do you know what, man? I'm so excited. Like, honestly, I think it's because the speculation of the Bray Wyatt stuff. Let's add in so much more to this, to like the PLE. Obviously, the PLE looks really good itself. There's the matches that I'm really looking forward to seeing, and then this Bray stuff. Like, is he going to turn up? Is something going to happen?
Yeah,
I mean, he's going to happen.
He's got like if he doesn't.
Oh, imagine.
There'll be problems. We'll dig deeper into the Bray stuff later on as we go along, I'm sure. But like you say, man, I haven't been this. Well, I keep saying that. I feel like the past few months since, the kind of regime change, things have really started to be exciting again. And although, I'm not trying to be the obvious kind of, it's because Triple H is in charge of Vince isn't. There was always great things with what Vince did as well. Of course, is probably the reason why most of us are wrestling fans. But that being said, there were a few things that were stale, and this is kind of shaking things up. And I'm really excited, and I kind of feel annoyed that I'm this excited. I don't know why. I just feel like I'm this excited for a B show. Like it's crazy. Maybe even a C show. What would you class as PLE as usually?
Probably a B show. I'll be honest, it'll be a little bit controversial, but I would say Hell in a Cell for me, TLC, I would class them more as C shows purely because they're just gimmicks. I know Extreme Rules, yes, it's a gimmick.
Yeah, but I think it falls in a good time of year, Extreme Rules, a lot of times. So that's why you kind of, and like you say, you're talking about the gimmicks. Like what? It sounds stupid, but we've gone on about this already in a prediction show. But just the fact that they've played into the theme properly. Like if you're gonna do it, the go home or go hard type situation, that's what's going on here. It feels with the new booking kind of team and heads of creative and all that fun stuff. Of course, what we'll do is we'll go through each match and we'll kind of talk about the predictions that we've already made. Of course, we can't change them. They are locked in, but it'd be interesting to know whether or not, Rob, you would have changed your mind with the benefit of the go-home shows. And, of course, I'll kind of give my updates there as well. But, again, they're locked in. We can't change it. And, of course, like we said, we're going to be talking Bray Wyatt. As this show goes on, we're going to be going all the way up to the through the kickoff show starts in about 25 minutes. We're going to be a little bit of a watch along companion for you there, and then after that we'll kind of stick with it because I doubt there's going to be a match on that. There doesn't ever seem to be any. Then again, Clash had a pre-show match, didn't it? Clash at the Castle. So but I didn't watch that because I was there, so that's a bit confusing. So I still haven't seen a pre-show match in flipping ages. We'll be talking about that if there is a match on the pre-show, and also again, running down the card and just kind of getting into the Bray Wyatt speculation, because I'm sure that's what most people want to be talking about on a night like this. Very, very excited. Right. Where do you want to start, Rob? Which match would you like to start
on? Do you have a specific match that you think will open the show? I know we don't do it that way. But
okay. Yeah. Or maybe we can. Maybe we can, Rob. You know. Let's. You know what? I think it could be. Now, a lot is going to depend on what happens with the White Rabbit situation, but we'll talk about that later on. We've even gone in depth as to where we think this White Rabbit reveal is going to be. But I think the opener could be Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross. Of course, you see there's Scarlett in the corner as well of Karrion Kross. Has she dropped the Bordeaux? Because I saw her referred to as Scarlett the other day. Just Scarlett. Is that a thing? I mean, I thought we were giving people the last names back, not taking them away.
I don't know. I mean, I don't mind it. I think Scarlett as itself is great.
Kind of works. Yeah, it does kind of work on its own, to be fair.
Yeah, I do like the Bordeaux. However,
Bordeaux's a cool name.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think because it's a very French side bit with the Bordeaux kind of thing. I think they just
what's the matter with the French, man?
Nothing. I just think that they want to try and limit, because it's such a Scarlett Bordeaux, as in
it's hard to spell for some people.
Yeah, Karrion Kross and Scarlett.
It's hard to Google.
It just sounds more. Yeah, I mean, or some people who I'm not going to name, but called it Scarlett Bordeaux.
Bordeaux.
What
about Badooks? Badooks.
Badooks.
Well, hey, that's how we go. Right, okay. With this match, as we just, we've kind of rambled on a little bit there already, but Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross. Now, I'm going to try and bring up, actually, let me see if I can find the PLE predictions that we've already made. But just a reminder before I do that, of course, this is all for a big, big prize. Let me see if I've got mine here. I've got the 2020 to 2021 trophy right here. Rob is the holder of the coveted 21-22 season trophy, and looking like Dan might be leading his way to the top to get 22-23. If you don't know how we run it WrestleMania to WrestleMania. Go on, what was you going to say?
I'm going to say again, one, I'm in a different location, so people that are probably asking, where's all the stuff in his background?
Yeah,
it's just up,
throwing it all away.
No, it's there. I'm moving rooms, so everything's being swapped over. So
gotcha.
It's just a backdrop kind of thing for the minute. I say that, but when we do the review, I'll be back upstairs with a backdrop. It's just I'm down here. You'll see some changes coming. I was gonna say, yeah. So mine's upstairs, but looking at that table, as I said, I think Lucas is gonna win it. You know, like
what the whole thing?
Yeah,
or just tonight?
Well, I think Lucas could win the whole thing. I'm going to be really shocked if he does. If he doesn't, because he's trailed for the first two, and now he's second. Like, I'm just thinking, like, Luke, you know, he's that wooden spoon. he's going to get it. It'll be funny when I said.
But the thing is, Dan is always running at the top. He's always running away with things, or you know, there or thereabouts, maybe second position, and he hasn't won one yet. So, you know, this could be his lucky year, mate.
He's a bit like Tottenham.
Oh, that he's never going to win.
No.
All right. Well, with that in mind, let's see. Let's have a quick look. We've got it's a strap match, of course. Now, all of us went for Karrion Kross in this one, Rob. Have you seen anything that's happened in the past week that's kind of made you feel like that might not be the case anymore?
Do you know what I've been watching? It's funny. I feel like I've been watching more because of the White Rabbit stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you check the RN Pro Wrestling Twitter, obviously you've been posting so much on there about everything that's going on. So we do have an active Twitter for the Pro Wrestling channel.
We do.
Which is obviously so be up to date there as well. So go and follow over there. But yeah, no, I still think Kross is going to win. It doesn't make sense for him to debut and lose the match. I think that was all of our mindset, really.
Yeah, I think, like you say, it doesn't make any sense to do it. It seems a complete waste. He had a bit of a wasteful call up the first time round. So you really can't be just kind of putting him in this match. Yeah, Drew just had a kind of loss that kind of stung Drew and stung fans of Drew. And even people that aren't massive Drew fans, I think, just saw it as a great opportunity for Drew at Clash. But that being said, it didn't happen. You could argue again that does kind of damage Drew, but I think he can get over it quite quickly.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'd say in that, I think Sheamus losing that Clash was a bigger loss than what Drew was, because Drew's been in that position a few times. And with Sheamus, it's like that's him completing the set of to be a Grand Slam champion. So, yes, Drew did have a big loss against Roman. But I feel like we know Roman's going on, whereas with Sheamus and the IC title, is like, we actually don't know.
Well, that's a good point, actually. Let's get into that match next then, because things have changed a little bit since we last did our predictions. Of course, with the good old-fashioned Donnybrook. Now, when we did our predictions and preview episode, if you haven't seen that yet, well, I guess there's not much time to see it now, but just in case you want to, it is on this channel, and the thumbnail looks like that. But we were talking about the fact that there was an IC title match coming up, and we were both kind of, I think, on the same page with this as well, that hopefully it didn't mess things up. It didn't make sense, and we thought there must be some sort of shenanigans that lead on to something rather than a title change. And it seems like that's what's happened. Now they've gone for this whole did he tap out thing. Now I'll put it straight and say no, he didn't tap out. Tapping out is it's 3 taps on a mat. You don't tap twice, you tap 3 times. So that's my opinion. Now I see his Imperium buddies, for example, Ludwig Kaiser has been kind of backing up that claim as well. I think the referee that called it is giving that reason as well. It was an interesting thing. I like the way kind of they did it. I don't know if it fits here in this storyline at this moment in time, but I did see that clip of Sheamus leaving the arena and like kind of everyone chanting and cheering that he kind of got screwed and Gunther tapped out. But what are your thoughts on that? And just this match upcoming, really?
Yeah, like I do think, do you know what? So I definitely don't think it was a tap out. The way, because as you said, it was 2 taps on a mat and not 3. However, the way it's kind of been planned and looks like it's going to build up. So Sheamus kind of had an opportunity, and that's why he let go, because he thought he was tapping. So I get why they played into it. They kind of done something similar way back with, I think it was maybe Brock and Undertaker. I may be wrong. So people watching, let me know if I got that right. But I feel like that was recent. It was like a Brock and Taker. It was like Hell's Gate or something like that. He tapped.
Yeah, there was a bit. I think, was it Brock and Taker? I feel like I remember what you're talking about. I just can't remember if it is Brock and Taker.
Yeah, it may have been. It feels like, I feel like it may have been there.
Yeah.
But I reckon it was that sort of thing. But the fact that he heard the tap makes him think like that's the way they played it off. So now it's going in with even more on the line of like there's more to. Do you know what I mean? There's like a bigger build. So I think this is the match I'm most looking forward to, though, you know?
Yeah, I think as a spectacle, we talked earlier, what is a Donnybrook match? It's just going to be some sort of hardcore no DQ, which doesn't really fit Imperium's style. So it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with that. But yeah, what do you think about, you've kind of touched on it already. You also don't think it was a tap out, but has it kind of muddied the waters? Should they have done the IC thing, or has it kind of improved this storyline?
No, I think it's improved it. 100% it's improved it. Purely because now we're going in with, he didn't tap. So I think Sheamus, kind of, if they build it in another way, going forward from here, if Sheamus does get the win, or the Brutes get the win, then it's like, okay, I need to make him tap. So that's going to build into this feud even more. So I think it elongates a feud that people actually want to see, as opposed to just having a feud where no one's really bothered, because we've had them before. Sheamus and Jeff Hardy was a prime example. And he got really stupid. But this time there's enough bodies around to really push the whole program. And the fact that we're getting that is great. I mean, Imperium look complete. I mean, there's only 3 of them now, as opposed to it was 4, wasn't it? So now
there was 4 before, yeah.
So now we're down to like them as a 3, which I think is a better number, really. Obviously, that's no disrespect to the guy that was out, but I just think 3 looks like a legit stable, as opposed to with 4, it looks like there's one lackluster guy.
Well, I guess it works with this feud as well, because it's 3-on-3, you know, like the visuals and even before when they were building up, you know, we talk about that great scene between the two of them getting ready to battle as everyone else around them was fighting. And they did that when there was only 2 members. Well, it wasn't even Imperium then. Speaking of which, I'd be silly not to plug it, Rob. But we did chat to Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser, talking about Imperium, talking about their goals, and also their time in the main roster together. And
what's your face doing there?
Well, that was it. That's in the middle of a clip where we're laughing about we had been talking about fashion, and I was saying, there we go, men making each other feel good, you know. So anyway, go check it out. We have a little laugh about fashion, which you probably don't expect, especially from Big Bad Gunther. But it was a pleasure to talk to him.
As a little bit from the that interview. Yeah. I did not expect them to be, what's the word? I don't want to say well spoken, because obviously everyone in WWE is PR trained, but they just seemed they're so different out of character, and they look like so lovely. So like when I was watching it back, I was like, oh, they seem just really casual. Like,
yeah, they were. I think they're intimidating because of the characters that they play, and because of the roles that they played on TV. I'll be honest. I remember having a lot of conversation with a lot of people in the build up to that, because obviously we had a bit of a brief about who we'd get to interview. Sometimes these things change all the time, and a lot of people, and this isn't a dig on anyone, but a lot of people were like, "What have you got for, you know, Gunther and Ludwig? Like, what can you ask? You know, like." And it's true, and it's tough because they although lately they've been kind of presented in a really good way, and you could look back to the Imperium stuff and stuff like that, it's strange because this is a man in Gunther who's a long IC reign now and an incredibly long UK title reign as well, you know. So there are things to talk about, but for some reason, because I guess a lot of these stuff happened on NXT UK as well, so it wasn't like you can go, you know, certain reference points with other characters, maybe that's on the main roster or anything like that. So I think it was challenging for a lot of people. And again, you know, even myself, I was, you know, thinking, well, that's why I went with that angle of it. Like, let's just have a laugh. So yeah, it was interesting to talk to him. Really good. But again, we've got a lot of interviews on this channel. Please check out more of them, as well as the Imperium one as well. We'll probably talk about a few more as we go throughout this night. But yeah, we've got a lot more on this channel. Of course, as Rob said earlier on, check us out on Twitter as well. We will live tweet the event tonight, as we always do for the big PLEs and some Raws and SmackDowns as well. You mentioned earlier on, Rob, basically being excited for this event and like watching bits of Raw and SmackDown because of the Why Rabbit and stuff like that. And again, we're going to get to that later on. But last night, I was falling asleep. I was so tired. I had a busy few days, Rob, and I was falling asleep, but I was desperate to stay up to see, just in case anything happened in the first few minutes of Raw. And that it's not just a White Rabbit. It started before that as well. You know, I've gone back to at least watching the first 15 minutes of Raw live, just in case something happens. And a lot of times I'm not disappointed. Something exciting does happen. And last night, of course, we did get some more QR code fun as well, which again, we'll get onto in just a bit. But what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to another match. Again, our predictions are locked in, but that doesn't mean we can't carry on talking about these matches and I guess say whether or not we would have changed if we did have the chance. Right. With that in mind, I think it's time to move into a women's match. What do you think, Rob?
I suppose so. No.
What was that? Controversial, mate?
I like to be controversial on this show, you know. No, they can't
right, Liv Morgan versus I was going to say Randy Orton then, Ronda Rousey.
Do you know what? This is another one that I'm looking forward to. I don't think there's a match on. This is a bold statement, but I don't think there's a match on this card. But I'm not actually. How do I put it? There's a match on every single match I'm excited to see. There isn't one I think, I can't be asked. Like every single one, the build-up's been great. The promos have been great. The stuff that we've been seeing in the ring and then a build-up to something else leading to what's going on with the match has been great. Like, and I'm not just saying that because Triple H is booking, because Vince was in control for some of this before Triple H then took over. But that isn't taken away from the way they've been doing it. This has been actual solid build for like the last few weeks since Clash, which was obviously another great show in itself. But yeah, man, every single match I'm just looking at it and I'm like, you know what? I'm excited to see that. I want to see this. I want to see that. And as I said, the Brawling Brutes versus Imperium is probably one I'm looking forward to the most. But I'm not a big fan of Ronda Rousey. I've made that well known on this show. And I'm looking forward to seeing her match against Liv because I just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, so we'll get into the predictions that we did make, and you make a good point in there. Like, we've said about, even in our predictions episode, this is such a strong card. I'm excited for so much of it, and even the ones that you think, oh, maybe that's not the one I'm most excited for, I'm still pretty excited to see it. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I feel like we're being spoiled with this card. Sometimes that's a risk, though. You get a great card, not great performance. Other times the card doesn't feel that great, and it ends up being a blockbuster, so but with this one, two big names, big story, big kind of what do you call it, what am I trying to say, what's the word, no, basically the title's on the line is what I'm trying to say. There we go. It's late, guys, here in the UK, 10 to 12, guys, but basically there's a lot on the line. Me and Dan have gone for Liv Morgan, and you and Lucas went for Ronda Rousey, Rob. Now I'm gonna say, since we're on SmackDown, I don't think my opinion would have changed. What about you, Rob? Any changes to your opinions there?
Nah. I think, as we were saying, if you haven't seen the build up, I'll basically go into. I think this is going to be the build for Ronda to regain the championship. I think either Liv can drop down the pecking order, or go into another build or another feud or something like that. But I think now is the time for Ronda to have the title back, in order to. It's kind of, if they do one more match, then, as we were discussing before, it could be a crown jewel. And I think if there's ever a stage for them to really go at it and then add something extra, Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan at crown jewel that would be such a fantastic match. Not just to seeing it one last time, because that would be the final one, but having both women at Saudi Arabia actually performing. It's something that it's really encouraging women, and it's making a massive change. So you can't say no to that, can you?
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, we did get a comment actually on the last video, basically saying,
Did we?
Yeah, about Ronda, basically saying it's not really the time to. Let me just check it, because there's one we didn't get to on.
I've got to call them out and tell them they're wrong.
So let me just let me find it actually. So,
and this is, do you know what? I'm actually quite shocked that I'm actually saying it's time for Ronda to win the championship again. When a couple
I
months
mean, you've
ago,
been quite vocal against Ronda.
Do you know what? It's nothing on her, but my issue was, if you're going to have someone that's being treated as the baddest woman on the planet, and she's doing the same, okay, yes, WWE has the same sort of signature moves and they do the same stuff all the time. I get that. I'm not against that.
Yeah.
But she's too mat based when we're in a wrestling ring. Like,
that sounds silly, that phrase, what you've just said, but I get what you're saying, because this ain't,
what I'm saying?
This is wrestling.
Yeah. So, like, either change that style or put her in a position where she's doing these sort of things deliberately.
Well, the thing is, this is the opportunity to do that, not only with the storyline that we've got going on, the mega baby facing Liv Morgan, but also the stipulations to the match, So having stipulations, this is why it's exciting seeing that at Extreme Rules, because of course we've seen this match before, but kind of shaking it up with stipulations, it definitely does help. So let's get to that comment I was just mentioning there. So of course this one is an Extreme Rules match, so the namesake, of course, for the PLE. So the comment came from Kentarius Coakley. Ronda being champion again, you're really going down that grade, the SmackDown women's division. Nobody on that women's division. Oh, you're really going to downgrade the SmackDown women's division. Nobody on that women's division taking the title off her, and Ronda hitting that part-time schedule. So just keep the belt on Liv Morgan until the Rumble. Because a lot of what we were talking about, Rob, was about, trying to map it out to WrestleMania, really. You think Ronda's going to be involved in something at Mania, or, on that road from Royal Rumble. So is she chasing? Is she holding? Is she returning? Has she gone away? This kind of plays into that again.
Yeah, do you know what, though? I'd say this. I've said this before about a few wrestlers. Another one being obviously now no longer a part of WWE, Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, if you're an AEW fan and a fan by his gimmick now. A fantastic chaser with the title. Absolutely fantastic. Like him chasing that championship and losing at the opportunity and just getting it and then just losing.
Yeah.
That build and drop. But Daniel Bryan, he is one of the best to do it. The minute he was champion, everyone was so relieved, they got bored of him. So he then turned heel and became like the planet's champion, which was great. And people hated him. And I was like, well, we're now doing that because of the way it was built. Like, do you know what I mean? So like sometimes you can be a great chaser and a really bad title holder. And even if we went back to the Attitude Era, people say, oh, so many people had great reigns. Tell me one fantastic reign from the Attitude Era when the WWE Championship went hot potatoes. I think
it's usually a babyface heel issue as well, because when you think about Triple H in that period, Triple H felt like he was the champ all the time, and Rock was always chasing and couldn't quite do it. But I'll be honest, as a massive Rock fan, as I would have been back then as well, being young and kind of, being so excited to see the Rock, I couldn't tell you much about any of his reigns. But I remember at the time being really annoyed that he wouldn't have the title for long, or that it's always the same thing, he nearly gets it, doesn't quite, get screwed or whatever. But looking back, well, that makes sense, because Triple H that's what makes it. And sometimes you could argue some of those times it did go on a bit too long, but I get what you're saying. I think it is, and you mentioned it there with Daniel Bryan, turning into heel is what changes it. So, so are you saying basically Liv is better as a chaser and she needs to give it up, or
I just can't. If you're a heel and you're chasing, there's only so much you can chase for before you think someone else needs to happen, or you need to have the title because it gets boring. With a babyface, you can do it for so long, and you can kind of.
Well, I mean, Liv did it for way too long, though. Let's be fair. The Liv one was annoying after a while. Glad she finally got there, but I don't want her chasing again, basically.
No,
because I feel like I'm still not over that 1.5 year chase. So
100%.
I'm glad she finally got it. Don't get me wrong. And that's probably a good time to mention again, while she's still the champion, at least, talking about the support she got from her peers, but also from fans as well. As you can see from this thumbnail there, she gets quite emotional talking about it. And also, we talk about her not winning big with the Riot Squad. I think pretty much everyone would have liked to have seen them win something. And she's got really interesting points as to why she's okay with having not won it, and kind of opinions behind that as well. But yeah, that goes back to, like you say, man, it feels like I wouldn't be surprised if she lost the title. It's just whether or not it's Ronda at the moment,
Okay, so let's say, for example, Liv wins, right? Which I have no issue with. Like, if Liv retains, fantastic. If Ronda wins, great, I'll get a point. That's how I'm looking at it, right? So win-win. But from a perspective of, okay, Liv wins, Ronda loses, who steps up? There's not another monster heel at the moment in the women's division other than Bayley, and she's SmackDown.
Well, she's over the other side,
Do you know what I mean? So
that's a kind of a good point to the comment that we had there, saying like what's next? Like, keep it on Liv till the Rumble, but
okay, but then you can make it interesting. Can Liv have such a great run now for the next 3 months up to Rumble and get away with the way she's done it? Roman as a heel, he don't even have to be there and people hate him. He's doing that. Liv is a babyface, so she has to show that she's working hard. She has to keep the fans on her side. Like Becky done it, and the fans started turning. Seth was a champ, the fans started turning. Drew, the fans started turning. The fans are different now, man. So you either have to do something to keep them invested, or you have to drop the title before they start turning. And I'm worried the same thing will happen with Liv. That's why I think Ronda's going to win
it. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from there. Again, me and Dan went for Liv. I can't change it anyway, even though I can kind of see your side of it there. I think my thinking was that she's going to win it and then lose it for the Rumble or something like that. Because that's the whole thing, is she going to go part-time? Even more so. That's another side of it as well. So, I mean, what's up next? Crown Jewel. When you put that to me last time on the predictions, I start thinking, you know what? That makes sense. Ronda being a Crown Jewel, it's a big name. It's kind of booked like those big boxing cards. So I can kind of see that. By the way, the kickoff show has just started. It's just started now. First thing they show is a guy holding his kid with a Fiend mask on. Someone's holding up something else with a Fiend's face on it as well. Again, don't worry, guys. We're going to get into Bray Wyatt talk as we go along. But the crowd's looking good. They've just opened up the kickoff show here in Philadelphia. Man, I wish I was there. I went to Philly a few years ago on a day trip from New York and loved it. And I've been looking for an excuse to go back. And the Royal Rumble's there soon. And I'd love to go to a Rumble live. I don't know. Let's see if the RN Pro Wrestling budget can stretch far enough for that one. But again, Extreme Rules kickoff show has just started. We hope we can be your watch-along companion for it here. And yeah, we're going to continue to break down the card and talk about speculation and rumors. And of course, we're going to get to the all-important and exciting Bray Wyatt rumors. With that in mind, let's move on to the next match that we've already predicted, but we're going to kind of touch on a little bit here. And I guess that would be Edge versus Finn Balor. Now, a lot of this has been around the Judgment Day. A lot of this has been around Are we back? All right.
What?
I think I was gone. What happened there? I don't know what the viewer saw, but we were talking about.
You froze.
I'll repeat it again. A lot of this has been around the Judgment Day, and therefore after that, Dominic Mysterio as well. Now, will that play a part here? Are we going to get more turns? Are we going to get more additions? Is this going to be a kind of comeuppance? You know, is Edge going to kind of get the win here because he's kind of looked bad lately? Yeah. Well, prediction-wise, remember, these are locked in already. Me and Rob can't change them anyway. But let us know in the comments what you think is going to happen tonight in each of these matches. But of course, right now we're talking about the I Quit match between Edge and Finn Balor. Now, Dan went for Balor. Lucas went for Edge. Now, me and you, Rob, both went for Finn Balor, and we even cockily both went straight in. We were thinking strategically here about our points to try and retain, well, get back our trophies. We both said that Edge is going to say I quit, and that's because Rey Mysterio is going to be at risk by Judgment Day members or something like that, and Edge is going to say I quit to save Rey Mysterio, and then not part of the bonus point or anything like that. But we both also think that no matter what a risk is to Rey, after Edge has said I quit, heels are going to be heels, and they're going to do that. Whatever that kind of risky maneuver is to Rey Mysterio, they're going to do it anyway. Now, I'm getting excited just thinking about that. I really do hope that's the way they book it. What are you thinking?
Yeah, it's got to happen, isn't it? Something has to happen like that. And obviously I know we're going to touch on it later, but I don't think this is the moment where Bray appears. I really don't.
I hope not. We mentioned it a lot already. We don't want it to be a Judgment Day thing because the Judgment Day are finally getting on their feet. Let them do their thing.
Let them be. But yeah, no, I do think something's got. It just makes sense, doesn't it? It like the way it's kind of the way we've built it and stuff. However, after we've done that, I was like, you know what? Does that make sense? Because we said it and really made ourselves believe it. that makes sense. So I'm like, all right, well, if I lose a point, so does Scott. So hey,
I know it's risky for me and you, man, but it could pay off together. But there's other points where we've gone separate anyway. So, but yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. No matter what happens, the best way to do it is going to be something that stands out in the show on a night where I honestly think it's going to be hard to stand out. Because there are so many different kind of stipulation matches and types of stipulation like that are different to each other as well. Again, this ain't the times where you get a match type where two are quite similar. I mean, you could argue the Donnybrook and the Extreme Rules are probably quite similar, but we're not too sure what that's going to kind of entail, unless they gimmick it up and put bar kind of stuff like they did for that Jeff Hardy one with Sheamus as well. But I just think this is the match where you can do something in the ring. What did you say? Donatello's in the ring?
Just different Donnies in the ring. So Donatello, Don Falcone.
Like Donatello's on here.
Oh wow, that's weird.
There we go. But yeah, I really think this is the best way to do it. Like this is to differentiate yourself from the pack tonight, where everyone's going to want to stand out. Everyone's going to want to try and have like a fun, kind of interesting, different kind of finish. And I think to do an I Quit match, the best thing to do is to kind of have some sort of shenanigans with the finish, and especially with a heel team. Like it's become a meme already that Judgment Day laughing when Dominic turned and stuff like that. Like they've all used it, and I do think this will be a continuation of their characters. It will keep them strong, and the sympathy there. The only kind of thing that makes me go against it is that Edge probably should at some stage win a match again. But yeah, you say no. Yeah, okay. A little bit like longer would be good for the Judgment Day, wouldn't it?
Yeah, again, it's one of those things. You're finally building a faction that's growing. Like they're starting to get a bit dominant. Have I froze? Are we good? No. I'm gonna carry talking. We finally got a faction that is growing, that is dominant. They're looking sharp. They look really they look dominating as a team. Now Dom's there as well, and I just don't believe that them losing right now to Edge is going to do anything. If anything, I think it would damage them. And obviously that's not what you want. You want to rebuild, keep the faction going, and things like that. So yeah, in my opinion, Edge needs to lose this for that reason. But then, as we said, the thing with Dominic and Ray and all that stuff, obviously that's also a part of it. So that's got to come into what's happening. And obviously, yeah, I think it makes sense anyway.
My God,
yeah, I can't see
what happened there.
I don't know. I mean, I've been speaking. I don't know if people heard it. I was kind of like trying to feel where I didn't want to be awkward.
I did go and quickly check. You were good. I look like an absolute twat, frozen.
Right. Do you know what I felt like? For a brief moment, in Wayne's World when Garth's gone and Wayne's gone and Garth's left on his own.
Yeah.
You waned me. That's what you did.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
But yeah, basically, I was just saying. I'll quickly repeat it in case I did freeze.
I think you were good.
Oh, okay. But basically, it doesn't make sense for the Judgment Day to lose the momentum that they've finally got going, especially if it's Edge to kill off the Judgment Day. I get the story, but it just doesn't make sense.
Could you imagine if they killed the Judgment Day here?
It'd be such a bad decision because you turn Dominic, you've got Finn Balor as a heel, Damian Priest is doing well, Rhea Ripley's doing great. They're all looking after each other. They look like an actual faction. And then just to disband them because Edge wins. Could you imagine? What a waste of 4 talents together.
Yeah, especially, I mean, for me, the big one there is Dominic. We've been waiting for that turn for ages. Yeah. And we got it, and it was so exciting at Clash, Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think there could have been another way you'd do it. Like, thinking about it now.
Yeah, there's been plenty of opportunities over the year, but this one was perfect. Now that we've had this, it's the right time for it as well. And the Rhea kind of connection has been great. Just touching on the turn there, of course, Clash at the Castle. We were lucky enough to be invited down to witness it in Cardiff, and we did a lot of press there as well. Of course, we've been mentioning some of the interviews that we have on this channel, but on the main Rebellious Noise channel as well, please check that out, where we cover a wide variety of stuff because we have these offshoot channels, especially happy to have you here on the Pro Wrestling channel. But on there soon, there will be kind of a behind the scenes look at our experience in Cardiff as well. So keep an eye out for that. A lot of kind of interesting stuff with the WWE superstars, other members of the press as well, who we got to hang out with. So yeah, it's something to look out for. But we've just been talking, of course, about the members of the Judgment Day, and it'd be silly for me to not mention that we interviewed Damian Priest talking about the possibility of new Judgment Day members. So that's quite an interesting one there. And of course, we got to chat to Rhea Ripley as well, talking about what got her into alternative music, being part of memes and scaring people at the gym. You should hear that story. But also the leader, the great Finn Balor, who is happy, I can tell you that much, Rob, to be a heel. And he tells us basically what the original plans were for his NXT run. Of course, when he returned there in 2019 into 2020, and the world went a bit mad, so they had to change things up. So that's an interesting little interview there as well. So check those out. You all right, mate? What are you having a laugh about?
I'm just trying to see. I don't know if I can find it. All right. So, can I just say, I don't know what it is with you, right? But I'm gonna put a picture up now. So there's you looking lovingly in Bobby Lashley's eyes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just looking at him like, oh, what a dreamboat. And then if if you scroll, and then we go to this photo of you and Finn Balor, and you're both looking lovely.
We're in love.
You just love guys. Yeah,
Mate, it's not often.
You just love wrestlers.
It's not often that an Arsenal fan and a Tottenham fan will look that way at each other, eye to eye. And sometimes things are bigger than football. Pro wrestling, I guess.
Pro wrestling. I felt the love in that interview. That was beautiful.
Thanks, man. Speaking of which, we have a football channel as well. Of course, I mentioned it just now. We have plenty to talk about here at Rebellious Noise, and we hope you stick with us. But hey, if you're really into wrestling, this is the place for you. The Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. So please subscribe if you're new. And if you ain't new and you're back, welcome back. Really appreciate having you. And if you ain't subscribed, but you've been here before, what's going on, guys? Press that red button. Right. Anyway, and ding-a-ling that little bell. Right. Let's move on to the next match. Still got the Extreme Rules pre-show going on over here on my other screen, Rob, but nothing's going on. Well, hold on. They've just done some lights. Maybe something is going
on. I'll be honest, man, I've not even been watching it.
Wow, great.
Sorry.
Yeah, nothing's going on. They're just, no, promos. All right, we'll carry on. Nothing to report there, guys. You're not missing anything on the pre-show. Right. Let's move into another match. And again, guys, everybody, please let us know your predictions for tonight. We really do want to know what you think about tonight's show. Not just the matches, of course. Bray Wyatt and the White Rabbit. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Let's move on, though, to another women's match. We talked about the SmackDown women's title earlier on. It's now time to talk about the Raw Women's Championship match. And Rob, I keep saying it, I'm flipping excited for this one. What about you? So it's a ladder match, which I think is the first time ever as well for the women's title match. So, I'm all about the first time evers.
Do you think they're going to do a gentle nod to Shawn and Razor Ramon on the, of some sort? Because it's the first women's ladder match. Do you think there's going to be
you could do
homage to that?
I think someone like Bayley would, but then again, she's not a babyface, so she's also really against doing things to please fans now in a comedic way. So I could see her pretending to do it, like pretending to jump. You know what? That would be great if she climbs up the ladder. She steps up, because Shawn did the splash, didn't he?
Yeah.
She pretends she's going to do a splash or even an elbow drop, and then she goes nah, and she carries on climbing up the ladder. And you think, boo, for two reasons. Number one, you're not giving us the high spot that we all want to see. And number two, crap, you might win the title and you're the big bad heel. But then Bianca runs up and stops her. I think that'd be a cool little spot they should do. But yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to this match. We all actually went for Bayley in this one. Any changes to your predictions there?
No, I don't think so. I think, again, Bianca's had a great run. I've loved Bianca having a run, and you know what? To be honest, I don't want to see her lose.
Oh, I think we lost Rob there. Right, you don't want to see her lose, people. Me neither. Oh, he's back. Here we go. You don't want to see Bianca lose.
No, so I don't want to see her lose. She's been a great champion. But I think what they're doing with Damage Control, you can't have two women having tag titles and then one without, the leader without. You kind of have to complete the package.
Yeah, that leader doesn't look so strong if they're the only one without a title. So
I just feel like to cover Damage Control, that's what they will kind of have to do. But that's not to say that they wouldn't go again at Crown Jewel. Seeing Bayley versus, even if they've not redone the match, but if they had a different stipulation at Crown Jewel, if Bayley did win, that'd be another moment for the women in wrestling and having a different sort of match and stuff. So women breaking down barriers and different types of matches. At one point we were amazed when they had the Hell in a Cell. And we thought, this ain't going to be great. It started off with a Rumble and, it's just grown from there. Elimination Chamber, Hell in a Cell. Now we're getting a ladder match. I can't wait. It's going to be so good.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what both of these people could do because they're so creative. They're so athletic. They're so they've got great minds for, the inner workings and stuff like that. And I just think I'm just really excited. I'm glad it's Bayley as well. I think she suits this match type quite a bit. I can just, as soon as you see it, you're like, ladder match. Oh, that makes sense. You know, like she feels like the kind of character that would thrive in a ladder match, whether it is babyface or heel. Of course, they've had Money in the Bank matches. We got to say. I think for the women's title, 1-on-1, this is a new kind of experience for the roster.
I was about to say, because obviously with Money in the Bank matches and stuff, there's been enough women there to kind of, okay, we'll do this, then we have our spot and roll out, then you do your spot, then, and it's planned like that. It's always planned like that, you know, even with men's matches, and that's not taken away from the women at all. Obviously, everyone's got to get their stuff in. They have to plan it in a way where everyone gets there enough time to showcase what they're doing in the match. But in ladder matches, and it's a singles match, it's just two of you. So you need
there's no time waiting outside the ring while someone else does something in the ring. Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's going to be great because they really get to showcase, oh, well, I can be thrown on the ladder and get up and
then do something
straight
away.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm so excited. And it goes back to even us just talking on the Talk and Beans podcast when we've done reviews and recaps and stuff on NXT and stuff like that. Just watching the women's division go from where it was to where it is now. It's such a it's so good, man. It's so nice to see. I remember nearly, you know, I was tearing up when we got the Bianca, when we got Bayley versus Sasha at NXT.
Yeah, mate, it's well documented. We've talked over years. The amount of times I've teared up over the women's division. So,
and you know, and now we're getting to see this, and I'm like, it just blows my mind that we're finally getting this stuff, and we're talking about it like it's normal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's what they always wanted, you know. I remember a few years ago, speaking of Talk of Beans, we did one before WrestleMania 35, and Dan spoke to Sasha Banks on her behalf, and we put it into that podcast. And he was talking about like doing these first time evers, and she basically said to him, like, I'm just looking for it to not be the first time, like it's just normal. And that's what we've got to. Of course, we're saying it now. This is a kind of a first. But there's still a few things to tick off the list. But generally speaking, it feels exciting, you know, like to continually get this improvement in the women's division. And I would say more so over the past few months as well. I think there was a time where it started to feel a little bit lost. They took too long with the Liv Morgan thing. She finally got there. And now we've got Bayley back. Just shows how strong the division can be.
They took too long with Becky when she first went up, Rich. Remember when she didn't even win the championship? It was in the Money in the Bank, and the fans were losing their marbles. Like they were going crazy, and she didn't win it. You know, so for a while they did take forever. But yeah, they're building it in a way now where they're doing good, and I think this change, which especially not I want to say Triple H's run of Victory is different, but the way he looked at the divisions, men and women in NXT, was yes, there's a difference, but that doesn't mean they can't put on a show. With Vince, I always felt like there was a little difference. Because he wanted big, strong guys like Braun Strowman and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So now Triple H is in charge. I just think there's just more. What's the word? There's more inclusivity.
Well, the thing is, NXT was the start really of the women's revolution. You know, it goes back further to AJ Lee and Paige, and then obviously further than that, you can argue, you know, Trish and people like that doing great things, Alita. But obviously, the real spark for the revolution happened in NXT. We've got a thumbs up from Everard. Everard, thanks for joining us, and everyone else watching here as well. Send your comments in. Let us know what you think is going to happen tonight at Extreme Rules. What you're most excited for. I think most people are going to be excited for a certain thing that we're going to be talking about.
I do have something on that.
What?
Oh, it's nothing new. It's just there was a promo package, and I think you're gonna have to help me fill in who it was. It was Bayley. No, it was Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
Alexa Bliss and Asuka. They were the three backstage. And you know when they were doing the glitches on the screen? Coming off. And above Alexa was
the face.
The Fiend's
mask.
It
looked a bit like his mask, yeah.
So if there was ever a time for the Fiend to appear, I think it's this match. I think this is the appearance of the Fiend. Or Bray or something like that. But it's to do with Alexa. But I think they're going to do it in a way that Alexa is the reason that Bayley becomes champion.
Right, okay. That's a lot to unpack. Right,
It is
okay.
a lot to unpack.
So we did talk about this on the predictions. We went into every single match and where we saw it likely, what the pros and cons for certain feuds that were going to kick off. And you did mention then, you know, the possibility of it being Alexa Bliss related. Be interested to know, people in the comments, let us know if you think it is Alexa Bliss related. Ezenwa. Here we go. Ezenwa. Hello, Ezenwa. Appreciate you being here.
I love it when people have most random names and you're like, oh, am I gonna say that?
What are you talking about, man? I've met loads of people called Ezenwa. Right.
Oh.
So what we've got here is that I just said that exactly like the beginning of Civil War by Guns N' Roses. That was a bit strange. Right. Niche reference there, maybe. I don't know. They're a big band, maybe not so niche. Right. Anyway, point is Alexa Bliss being related to this. I don't know. And that brings into the kind of talk that they think that there could be more than one reveal. Like, right. I don't want to fully get into this just yet because we've got one more match to talk about.
All right, let's do this match and then we'll come back to this moment.
And then we'll come back to Bray Wyatt. Everyone watching on demand, stick with us. Well, live even and on demand. If you're watching this on demand, even
well, if you are watching on demand, just comment and tell us that we were wrong if we got it wrong. You know?
yeah. Right, we're going to talk about Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins, and Daniel Cormier, of course, as the special guest referee in a fight pit match. Another different match type. What? What's wrong?
You went in a fight pit.
I didn't say whatever, man. The point is, fight pit match. Going to be excited, man. Looking forward to this. A lot of people think this is going to be in the main event. I just find closing on something that isn't a ring is very strange. But then again, did the WrestleMania closed on Undertaker's thingy match, right? Did it? Did John Cena and Bray close? No, I don't think it did.
Remember? No. Wait. I think it did. You know.
Well, I guess so. They could do it, and even Bray's Swamp one as well. I think.
Oh, do you know what? What's madness?
Yeah,
that was only a couple years ago, and that was at Extreme Rules.
It was the horror show.
Oh man, that was weird. Was that the time when the zombies came out and the Miz or something? Do you remember that?
Yeah,
crazy. How crazy was that?
Speaking of the Miz is on the pre-show at the moment. Well, not himself, but a video package.
I would love to see you interview the Miz. That would be I'd love to interview my favorite things. Just your energy and his response that'd be incredible.
I'd love to interview the Miz. Yeah. Hopefully, I can make that happen one day. But yeah. Anyway, back to this match: Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins. I was going to say Freakin there, but I'll stay away from it. Not for a title, just for
bragging right, really, isn't it?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so there we go. And you know, prediction wise, what have we gone for? So, well, everyone has gone for Riddle on this one. I don't think a change. I think Riddle needs to get his win back after the last one. It's just whether or not that addition of the MMA legend himself as a special guest referee is going to change anything. Because when we did our predictions, it was breaking news. We already knew about it. Ooh, sorry, guys. We already knew about it. So we did kind of predict with that in mind, but it was still new information. So a week on, Rob, how are you feeling? Would it change your kind of perspective on things?
Yes and no, actually. A little both. So obviously no, because I want Riddle to win. Obviously because the way they've done it and stuff, and the promo and all that sort of stuff, right? It's been this build up. It's probably been one of my favorite build ups, especially this moment where it just felt like there was just an extra little bit of realism. So what I'm going to go talk about is the video. They've done an interview in separate rooms.
Of course, yeah, that was in the build up to Clash,
right?
Yeah,
and there was this moment where Seth said, "Riddle, are you still there?"
Which was taken from MMA, to be fair.
Yeah.
So
right, but the way they done that, and then
very well done.
It was fantastic. And Riddle's reaction, I don't know if it was a case of I'm gonna say this, or I'm gonna say something that's gonna offend you,
Yeah.
or what. But Riddle, oh man, if that was acting, like I was like, okay, like he means business. So
well, they did it again recently as well. Seth
Mm.
kind of hit him with another low blow about his family and stuff like that. So they've been really kind of,
yeah,
stepping on reality really with this one, and it's helped the feud, I will say. I think people are really into it, and that again, the Clash one was great. You got to remember this has been kind of boiling since before SummerSlam. Obviously, it kind of got delayed there. Clash match was great, but then now it's just like surely Matt Riddle needs to win, and the
yeah.
feud needs
So
to be over. Like, because it's about to overstay its welcome. As much as I've enjoyed this feud, it's about to overstay its welcome.
So
Oh, we've lost Rob. Oh no! Thankfully we've got a comment to go to just in time. As Enwa says, Seth will win. So Seth Rollins apparently going to win this match. Rob, you're back. We went to a comment just in case. So everyone, send me comments just in case Rob goes again. But as Enwa says, Seth's going to win. But go
on. So this is what I was thinking, right? So I was like, all right. So Riddle, obviously, he's got the MMA stuff and having an MMA guy in there as well, along with Seth. So I was like, imagine if Seth had Cormier on his side, and he was the reason that Seth wins. So Seth, do you know what I mean? And then it led to
set up Daniel Cormier against Matt Riddle.
Matt Riddle, yeah, and then Seth has an involvement in that
because I think it's been well documented. He's a fan of Seth Rollins. Clip was going around recently again of when he was at a press conference when Punk was in the UFC, and he said, "Was the number you gave me actually Seth Rollins' number?" And Punk laughs it off and says, "Yeah, it was." And he was like, "All right." So he's clearly been publicly a big fan of Seth Rollins. There's pictures of him wearing Seth Rollins t-shirts. Yeah. So this is a really interesting way to kind of bring him into the loop here. But it felt random at the time, but if you know behind the scenes, or if you kind of connect the dots between the UFC side of it and then also his fandom for Seth, it kind of makes sense. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it though, man. Like, we haven't seen a fight pit since the NXT one that we saw. I'm not sure if it's going to close the show. That's the only thing. I'm not sure. It feels like if you said on paper which match, take away all stipulations, which match would close the show, for me it would be Riddle and Seth. It's the most kind of blood feud that we've got going on, even though it's not for a title. And if you ain't got Roman Reigns defending the double championship, then this is probably the next best thing. Well, I would say the women's title was the next best thing, but
maybe
they're not in that position at the moment, I don't think. So I don't know which one. Well, I do know it'd probably be Bayley and Bianca would be the one I would put main event if I was choosing a women's one at the moment.
I don't know, I mean, I think the two that I would either choose would be Ronda and Liv, or they'd end if they were not going to end the show with anything else, Edge versus Finn. I think because that's got a bit of a pull on. Because I think if something was to happen,
unless the Bray thing comes into it.
Yeah.
If a strange match is finishing it and Bray hasn't shown up, or there hasn't been a White Rabbit reveal or anything like that, it's going to be like, oh, okay, this is it then, So this is why this is on last.
Yeah.
So, and then you can kind of tell. I mean, it's weird because we're going into it knowing that something's going to happen. All right, let's get into that. It's time, guys. It's time to talk Bray Wyatt. It's time to talk White Rabbit. Right.
Yeah.
We're in a weird predicament where we're we're going into this knowing pretty much that Bray Wyatt, hopefully, is returning tonight, right? And at the very least, knowing that something is happening tonight with the White Rabbit, because they literally said it on SmackDown. They said, they told us, right? And we'll get into that in a moment because I've got a few opinions on that. Obviously, we've talked about this already extensively on the channel. Our opinions of the QR codes, the White Rabbit, all the hints and stuff like that, been great. I gotta be honest, Rob, I feel like it's gone a bit too much lately, but I'm still excited. I'm very excited to see Bray return. I hope it is. It would go a massive slap in the face if he doesn't. I guess there's still a possibility we've got to be open to it that it could be someone else. Now there are also rumors, and we talked about this before. Is it a new Wyatt family or some sort of just faction with Bray Wyatt at the top of it? And there was rumors going around the past few hours that there will be some sort of White Rabbit reveal, but it won't be the White Rabbit reveal. It'll be the next step of the puzzle, or someone kind of gets revealed, but it's not Bray, maybe, or something like that. And I could see that this, you know what I personally like, if it is a faction that they either all come at once, or Bray comes first and the rest of them come later, kind of like that Judgment Day did, or it all happens throughout the night, that we keep getting different things. Because we said the other day, it'd be cool to see like different kind of teasers for the night, but now the teasers are kind of, it's overdone now. Like, so
I don't know. Yeah. I'm enjoying it.
Well, all right. So for me, now I sound like I'm being negative, but if you go back and watch our preview and predictions episode, I'm not. I love everything they've pretty much done. But for me, like, they've told us who it is. Now, look, when the obvious is there, CM Punk was obvious, and that was okay. We all knew CM Punk was coming back, and it was fine. It was like they promoted it without promoting it. They kind of knew what was going on, and they let it kind of, that buzz fly. Bray feels like the same thing, and it's been good. But for me, where it annoys me is that I love the QR code side of it, but why would Triple H have it on his mic unless Triple H is in on it? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And why are they then showing the unless it's like someone's taking over production? Like, I'm trying to suspend my disbelief here, and it's like this. It's all been kind of portrayed as if something spooky and behind the scenes and kind of taken over, and supernatural powers is going on. You know, the rabbit sitting in the audience, like on SmackDown and stuff like that. But I don't need someone holding a QR code and pretending they don't realize they're holding the QR code. Like, that annoys me. Like, it should be in the background all the time. And you know what else annoys me about it as well? This is weird because I just spent so much time on the predictions episode saying how much I loved all this. But it also annoys me that the WWE themselves and like BT Sport and Fox, whoever else, are literally posting about what we've seen. It should, like, it was viral. It was viral. Like, leave it. Let it be viral on its own. Never, ever acknowledge it. That's what they should have done. And for me personally, they've leaned too far into it by acknowledging it on air. And that's kind of took away the shine for me. Yes, they wanted to make it clear, it seems, that it's Bray Wyatt, but I think you could have still done that without Triple H holding a microphone with a QR code. Or, man, the video that it led to, cool. They let me in. They made it obvious it's in. It was spooky. I was watching it last night. I mentioned I was falling asleep, woke up, like stayed up for the beginning of the SmackDown just to see that. And you see, we posted about on our RN Pro Wrestling Twitter account as well. Like, honestly, I was watching that back in the dark, half asleep, and it was giving me chills. It was spooky. So what they've done is great. The execution on most kind of parts for me is great, but kind of acknowledging it is the frustrating side to me.
See, I feel the opposite, which is opposite, which is great. But I like the fact that it started off with a thing and it wasn't mentioned, right? It wasn't. It was ignored, and the QRs were just in the background. Now they're coming more to the foreground. It's like WWE knows something's happening, and it's like, do you know what? We're just going to lead you down the rabbit hole. Literally that. We're going to make you want to know. And you know the best thing about it? Why have people been tuning into SmackDown and Raw now? This QR code. Why? It's literally people are tuning in to see what's going on.
But you don't have to have it acknowledged by the WWE. That's what annoys me.
Right. But I don't know. I don't know. I like it. I do. It's like the way Triple H done it as well. Was like, it was so simple. It was like he had the microphone, he was just talking. Then obviously the camera pan, turn the microphone.
Which you awkwardly saw him start to turn it, but that's not a problem for me. I'm fine with that. But like, he should have then gone, what the hell was that? Like, how did this get on my mic? That's what he should have done, and that's what annoys me about it. You know, and again, if the WWE are mentioning it, they're acting like it's all spooky and stuff like that. But for me, it was so good as a viral behind a kind of not on the show. Like, if you're gonna go this far to put source code with little hints and stuff like that, if you're gonna do that, right? Why would you then say, like, make it clear on it? Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's, I feel like they're in two minds about it. Go on.
For one of the source codes, there was, I don't know if it was a clue or so one of the people that was on, there's a big group of people, obviously, like a wrestling fandom. Are we able to share other channels?
Sure, man.
Give them a plug? All right. So I don't know if he's even watching, but there's a YouTuber called C Wrestling. I believe he's from the UK.
Massive Bray fan. Just talking about Bray all the time. Don't get me wrong. I've seen some of his stuff, but
the way he's broke down all the videos and gave
Yeah.
you information and all that sort of stuff. So if you haven't, obviously subscribe here, but go and check out his stuff because that guy is great when it comes to keeping you updated and stuff
for
like
Bray,
that. Yeah, for Bray and all that. But he's taken each video, dissected it, and apparently WWE on the source code bit, one of the fans figured the clue out or something.
So I know they saw. I think they saw that the Fiend's song had been
come back on Spotify.
Yeah,
and on the source code they put his
Twitter name, which is so cool. Like that is that's the two sides of it. That and then someone holding up a QR code and pretending they didn't know it's there, or like like there needs to be if you're gonna acknowledge it, you need to acknowledge that this is weird. Like what was that? You know, like that's what needs to be going on. But then the other side of the source code stuff, like I think that's wicked, man. Like that is so cool, especially for that fan. Imagine if you're that fan, you're part of it, man. Like, I mean, we haven't even got into what this is like. Of course, it's all referring to the pigs there, the big bad wolf, and let me in. That's Bray Wyatt, right? But there are a lot of rumors that Joe Gacy's been playing up to it as well. He put
a rabbit in there.
Yeah, and he put up a picture of Philadelphia as well. So, like, of the skyline. So, look, he might be in it. He might be a red herring. I don't know. But if I was him, even if I weren't involved, that's exactly what I would be doing to kind of capitalize off of the publicity of people thinking it could be him. Because, of course, the rumors were it's something to do with Bray. There were also rumors about Karrion Kross, of course, we talked about that before. Joe Gacy, Dexter Lumis, Alexa Bliss, and Aleister Black as well. I've seen some people mention as well, but of course, there's more rumors that he's going back to AEW in a moment. Anyway, quickly, just moving away from the Bray stuff, we got a message here from Jay Money who says Nikita Lyons is backstage. There we go at WWE Extreme Rules. That's really interesting to know as well. I wonder what that is all about. I mean, she's someone that's definitely been on the rise the past few months, making a lot of headlines and things like that and getting people interested in her act. Now, if she shows up on the main roster, which match is she jumping into? That would be
if she was, her versus either Liv or Ronda would be great.
That'd be her versus Bianca would be good.
Yeah, but then do you put her against Bianca? If so, does Bianca retain? Or does Bianca lose because of
I mean, does she lose because of Nikita, and she goes after Nikita because of that? Don't know.
Do you know what I mean? It's but I think with Liv and Ronda, I think it's one of those where it doesn't matter because it then builds the feud for that. Whereas with Bianca, she then needs to chase again. And I think her going off on another feud then coming back to chasing is a bit redundant. Whereas you could put all three of them in a triple threat match. Do you know what I mean? And
maybe she could. Yeah, I mean, if she gets involved in that, it's like obviously been a ladder match. It's not like she can cause a DQ. I mean, that's the one thing they can't really do on this show, really, is it? I don't think there's any match where they can really get away with doing a DQ, is there, at all? So we've got a fight pit match, a strap match, a ladder match, I quit match, and a Donnybrook match, an Extreme Rules match. There's literally no way they can do a DQ finish. So that's an interesting kind of side to this night as well. Going back to Bray Wyatt, though, what do you think then, Rob? Is it just Bray? Or are we getting other people as well?
I'm not sure if we're getting other people. I don't actually think. Right, so I guess you have to put Bray as two different entities. That's the word. Because you have Bray, then you have the Fiend. So when we say
that's another conversation in itself. This is what I was going
to say, right? So are we getting Bray? Are we getting the Fiend? Or are we getting a White Rabbit? Because that could be something completely different.
Yeah, I don't think that Bray is the White Rabbit. I think the White Rabbit is.
Don't be the bunny from Adam Rose's Rosebuds.
It's literally follow the White Rabbit and you will get your answer. That's what I think the White Rabbit is. I think it's a kind of metaphor or whatever else. It's not. He's not going to come out with bunny ears. But just
flashing ones. Imagine.
Mate, I had a pair of those back in the day going clubbing.
I bet you did.
It was an Easter club night. They were giving away chocolate eggs. If you're not from the UK, I don't think anyone else really does chocolate eggs. other than like maybe the UK and Ireland.
No thanks, Cadbury's cream eggs. They're my go-to. Oh my days.
They're a bit sickly for me. I like them, but they get a bit sickly. Right. Anyway, apart from chocolate eggs, let's get back to Bray Wyatt and his kind of buddies instead. I don't think he's the White Rabbit. See, that's what people say. There is a rabbit, there is a wolf, there is a pig. Obviously, we didn't mention the pig kind of thing. There's also a flash up that came up that was the pig that used to be on the Firefly Funhouse as well. So that's quite interesting. But yeah, I don't think he's the White Rabbit himself. Is he going to be Bray? Is he going to be the Fiend? Is he going to be a new version? Now, for me, and we kind of touched on this again on our predictions episode, but I personally think this is a new version of Bray. I love the Wyatt family Bray, and I love the Fiend. Last night, I went back and watched the Mania entrance where they had live bands as the Wyatt family. I went back and watched the Fiend's debut and a few other clips as well to watch the entrances. And I was like, you know what? I love both theme songs because they both fit the characters at the time. Now, I don't think we're going to get a third version of it to fit this new character. And it feels a shame because it feels like the Fiend has been lost. And also, you've got the kind of Mr. Rogers Bray Wyatt as well. I feel like we've lost that. And that, like, this is the thing with Bray, like, and Triple H's interview with Ariel Helwani, if people haven't seen it yet, even if it does get revealed as Bray tonight, definitely go back and watch that because they mentioned on that, like, you know, why he's kind of not around or would you be open to him being around? It was like, he's just so talented, but like, he can be his own worst enemy sort of thing, but he's so super creative. And then I don't know if you saw the same thing, but Ariel Helwani interviewed Seth Rollins as well, and he said the same thing. It didn't quite work. Everyone that went against the Fiend kind of came out of it badly, except for I think he said Daniel Bryan, and then Randy Orton for killing him basically. And then I get that, but also I think it was booked really badly. And I think that's my point really, that Bray Wyatt, every version of him has been incredible and like I feel like he's been moving so far ahead of what's actually going on. Like he's better than the storyline he's in. Like there's the potential has been like boom, like it starts and straight away you see all the potential for where this could go, and it never catches up to it ever. And they make some terrible decisions. And there are some great things they do. I even look back at the stuff in the pandemic era with him and Alexa, and I remember there were times where like not sure, but now looking back and going, this went nowhere is really annoying. And most of Bray's career is that it's like, it went nowhere. Like this I watched the Wyatt family stuff and I was like, this should have been amazing. It should have been so much more.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I feel like Bray as a whole, obviously just put all characters in, just Bray Wyatt, the man, Wyndham
Rotunda, yeah.
It's incredible.
Oh, hold on. There's a White Rabbit thing going on at the moment on the kickoff show. It's the one.
I'm looking. I started looking, thinking, what's going on our screen?
White Rabbit's not on our screen, mate. I don't think so.
I'm tired.
Hold on. I can make it appear on our screen. There we go. There's the White Rabbit on our screen. There we go.
Anything happen?
No, I'm just saying. Are they talking about it? No, they've just carried on talking about whatever they were talking about before.
Okay.
Karrion Kross and Drew. Interesting. So there we go. More hints to Bray Wyatt. Well, sorry, the White Rabbit. But yeah, sorry, mate. Back to your point.
That's cool. Right. So Wyndham Rotunda as a whole, it's incredibly talented and creative, and his mind is somewhere else. Like it's amazing. Like the promos that he's done, the way he delivers stuff, the look and the feel of characters and stuff. Is great, but I always feel like he's been cheated out of that big finish. I'm not saying he had to beat Taker, but his match with Taker was great. He literally built the whole like feud for that was built off of Bray doing promos, and there was not one thing of Taker. I think to the go home show, maybe not even the go home show. Like, do you know what I mean? Like he's carried everything. He was great then. Pandemic era. I just think every time he's had that moment and he's like the quarterback's thrown the ball as he was about to catch it, he's just been taken out. Like it's always been like that for Bray, and it's a shame.
The weird thing is that there is no one like him. There is no one, and The Rock means no one that you could compare to Bray at this very moment in time. No one will create this buzz and excitement. No one. Like, don't get me wrong. If Kenny Omega, like the rumors back in the day when he was going to show up at the Rumble and it didn't happen, if someone like that was jumping over from AEW, maybe. If someone from WWE was jumping over to AEW the other way, maybe, in some sense. There is no one in the modern kind of day, like the modern rosters or anything like that, in my opinion, that is created a bigger buzz than Bray Wyatt. Now, again, we mentioned, though, a lot of times it's deflated and gone to nothing. But he's been so damaged, yet we're all here tonight excited for what comes next. Even though we know we might get burnt and stung again, because it seems to always happen with Bray Wyatt characters, we're all still on board. And that is a testament to the man's skill. Like, I just think the presentation has been a shambles at times, but you always remember the times that it nearly worked, you know? And I don't know, maybe there are kind of behind the scenes stuff I'm not kind of privy to, that it's not that simple. I kind of thought when Seth said, oh, you know, there was a poison, it's like it was a poison chalice. I don't think that's the case. I think it was just booked badly. I can understand in some ways, yeah, like he was like a super villain and kind of horror character, but there were other things you could have done with it, you know? So, but if you're jumping back to what I said earlier on, like I'm all over the place. This is how exciting this Bray Wyatt stuff is. But like I said, the different versions of his theme, like I can't even pick a better version than that, because they both suit the character at the time, and they were just so cool. Like the kind of swampy Bray Wyatt is completely different to the Slipknot inspired Fiend Bray Wyatt. Do you know what I mean? Like they're completely different, and they're both amazing. The only time I've not been completely enamored by like Bray Wyatt is Husky Harris, and that obviously weren't really his fault, was it? But he was still part of Nexus, who were bloody wicked, even if he weren't part of the best part of Nexus. But still, like Bray has an incredible career with being kind of, like you say, someone snatching the ball out of his hands just at the last moment, you know? So that's why, again, I don't think anyone in the wrestling business today could get us this excited.
Didn't he use as Husky Harris? One of the army tank with a Ferrari engine. That's what it was called, wasn't it?
That was yeah.
Even that's madness. Army
Even
tank with a Ferrari engine. That just, who thinks of that? Like, you know, but look, I'm excited 100%. And I think you said there was damage done with the character overall with Bray Fiend. Especially the Fiend. I think the thing I really liked though was every time the Fiend defeated someone, for some reason if they were heel, they went face. If they were face, they went heel. There's a reason behind that, and I think we still don't know why. Obviously, the stuff with Alexa that still needs to be.
But will they
dive into?
Will they do that?
Which is what I was saying earlier. Yeah. I think Alexa will be there with Asuka to make at one point to make a save, and I think after she makes that save, something will happen to Alexa. Do you remember when she just used to go into that trance?
Yeah.
I think that will happen, and she will just do something. And I literally think Bray's going to be like a puppet master.
Because it is annoying, because we always try and look back on these things and go, I wish, this has got to be resolved someday. You know, we made the joke about the when Triple H said that the NXT In Your House finish between the women was going to be kind of there. It all makes sense someday. But, you know, even when they don't mention it, there are a lot of things we go, surely they'll come back to this. But the Randy Orton thing, the Alexa Bliss thing, just kind of, didn't go anywhere, did it? You know, like we give them the benefit of the doubt. And now, again, that could go into kind of behind the scenes stuff. He got released and whatever else. But I don't know if we're going to go back to that. But I feel like Bray is someone that is always keen to go back, because as much as he reinvents himself, he's this kind of stuff going on at the moment. Let Me In, the pigs and stuff like that. And also, a lot of the clues that were going around were basically like he had planned it for years. They were like, on this date in 2019, he said this. In 2017, he said this promo and he said these words. Look at this old tweet. Look at this photo. Look at this painting that he put out when he was in this thing with Alexa. And this painting needs this. And there's so much behind it. So even if he doesn't get given that opportunity to do it, he's always kind of putting this stuff out there, because he knows someday he's going to go, by the way, 4 years ago, I said this. Can we revisit that? Like I think he's always doing it, even though he doesn't get the opportunity to do it. I think he's always got that stuff loaded up, ready to go.
So there was a thing, I can't remember this was, I think it was 2019. I think Bray done a promo, right? I can't remember. I really can't remember off the top of my head what it was. But he put out on his Twitter something to do with, I still can't believe people haven't figured out this code in what it was.
Okay.
And he put a message in a promo as a secret hidden message. And I actually don't think anyone's figured it out. Like, I have not seen anything. I've seen, like, the C Wrestling guy.
Yeah.
I've not seen anything on that. But he's just so talented. It's like he does an inception on his himself. There's a clue within a clue within a clue that just leads you to one next thing. That gives you more clues. It's like the guy is just a walking riddle, and it's incredible.
You say walking riddle as Matt Riddle's graphic just pops up there on the pre-show. With that in mind, we've got about 9 minutes before the actual show kicks off. So, Rob, I'm going to put you under pressure here and say, ultimately, number one, we'll do it. We'll both do this, right? Number one, is Bray Wyatt coming back tonight?
In some way, shape, or form, but I don't think we're gonna get a reveal of something. But I don't think we're going to see Bray Wyatt.
Okay, all right. How's that? Will Wyndham Rotunda, playing a character, be present at this show?
Yes.
On this show? Okay, so. Right. I agree as well. Right. Next up, will he be alone?
At the start, but I think something else is going to happen. Well, we'll see someone else.
And you think that's either Alexa Bliss or someone else completely different, or both?
Either or.
Okay. I think he's on his own. I think he's on his own. I think he's What was I doing?
Yeah.
I think he's on his own. Next up, is he a new character, a new version of himself?
I think again at some point, yes.
I think he is. I think he is. I think he's either, whether it's a new mask or new clothes or something like that, the presentation will be different. He will not look like the Eater of Worlds, and he will not look like the Fiend, in my opinion. He might look like a mix between the two, but he won't be exactly as you remember. He might still be the Fiend. I might still call him the Fiend. And then theme music. If they play music, will it be his original theme, his Fiend theme, or the Jefferson Airplane White Rabbit song?
It'll be White Rabbit playing, because I think that's what's getting the most buzz at the moment. But I think if there's any music, but I don't think music needs to be played.
Okay. Right. And then with that, we've kind of already touched on it earlier in the week, but does your opinion change? We'll quickly run through the matches here. Where do you think is most likely to show up? Let's say out of 10, out of 100%, let's say out of 100%, what's he most likely to show up? The odds out of 100% to show up in Liv versus Ronda?
0%. There's no reason for it.
Right. The odds of him showing up in Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins?
I'll say 25%. Like, it may happen, but there's no reason yet.
I feel 60% because I think he might go after Seth.
Oh wow! Yeah, but can you really have Bray's character going against someone like Seth at the moment? There is two contrasts.
I know.
It's like the Joker going against the Riddler.
Oh yeah, true. Sense, right? Yeah, okay, maybe 40% then. All right, Karrion Kross versus Drew McIntyre. What's the odds of him showing up here?
Oh, do you know what? Maybe 50.
I think 70, because I think he'll go after Drew. Out of the two of them,
I think if he's gonna appear in this match, as we said on the build-up show, he'll be after Drew.
All right, and would he show up between Bianca Belair and Bayley? Now you've talked a lot about this having an Alexa Bliss kind of twist to it, so I think you're going to go quite high here.
Imagine if I said no. I think 90%.
90%.
Yeah, I reckon. It just makes sense, man.
Mate, I'll give it 35%. No, I'll give it 40%. It's the same as what I've given Riddle and Rollins.
I think the only reason is because there is an association there with Bianca and Alexa. Yeah. So, like, it's got
90% though. Okay, right. Finn Balor versus Edge. Now, I hope it's not, but I'm going to say 20% likely.
I don't want them to be involved. So, I mean, I'll say I'll say I agree.
I could see it though. I could see it. You know what I mean? But
please don't. Just
all right. And the Donnybrook.
0.
Zero. Yeah, for me as well. Unless it was literally to lay everyone out. But like, it's a strange, what do you call it? Stipulation to kind of mess around with like that.
Yeah.
And before we get out of here, because we've got 4 minutes left, guys, and there were no matches on the pre-show, just in case you didn't realize. Bit frustrating that we didn't get to do one of these properly. Of course, we did a build-up show last month, but it was outside the stadium with me and Lucas. But yeah. Match of the night. What do you reckon?
Oh man, either the ladder match between Bianca and Bayley,
yeah,
or the Donnybrook match, because I think there's too much chaos to go on, which I think is why it's going to be so good.
I think Seth and Riddle looks really exciting to me because because I'm excited to see what Seth does in this position because very creative. But I think the one that's going to steal the show, I would say, maybe Bianca Bayley. But ultimately, whatever match the White Rabbit thing happens in, that's going to be the most. That'll be the most memorable thing.
And a part of me is like, do you know what? We finally get the first, as you were saying earlier, the first ever women's ladder match. It's going to be so good.
You don't want to ruin it.
A part of me is like,
distractions.
As much as I want the White Rabbit stuff there, please don't, because it's going to take away from this moment of the women in wrestling. But I don't know.
But then I don't know. It's tough, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get you. Right, that's pretty much it, guys. We've got about 3 minutes left before we get out of here. Really do hope you've enjoyed this build-up experience. We do this every PLE, basically, just before we get us in the mood, but we try and get you in the mood as well to talk about the upcoming show. And trust me, it's been an easy thing to do the past few months because things are quite fun in WWE.
I'm upset, you know.
Why are you upset?
No Ronnie Storm today. Nothing to predict.
Hold on.
It's unbelievable.
We didn't have any extra matches, but Ronnie's right here.
I know. He's chilling. You know,
Ronnie's right there. You probably noticed tonight, guys, it is a very casual and relaxed stream. We really do hope you appreciate and enjoy this. We appreciate you being here. Everyone who watches the build-up show live, but also I know some people do watch it on demand because, you know, we're going to topics that's still relevant after it as well. So thank you to everyone that does that. We really do hope that you subscribe if you haven't already. And again, we got a lot of content here on the channel as well. Included plenty of interviews that we've done recently. I'm going to quickly run through some of them now. We've got the Damian Priest interview on this channel. We had a chat with Drew McIntyre. We recently had a chat with Bianca Belair and with Finn Balor. And also on top of that, we spoke to Liv Morgan. We also spoke to Butch Pete Dunne and members of Imperium and Rhea Ripley and the Street Profits. And as I mentioned before, there's going to be a kind of behind the scenes kind of situation going on the Rebellious Noise channel, the main Rebellious Noise channel. So if you haven't signed up there, do that as well. Really do appreciate everyone. We better get off because it's time for Extreme Rules. And Rob, I really hope I'm not going to be disappointed. Look, we've been talking so much about this. We haven't even said that tomorrow we're going to be back here doing a recap and review at, it should be 12 o'clock UK time. Wherever you are in the world, put that to Google. BST, we're talking British summertime, 12 o'clock midday. We'll see you there. Rob, anything you got to say before we get out of here?
Nah, man, I'm good. I want to go and see it.
Let's go. All right. We'll see you very soon, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.